Hi, I'm Chuck Dorsett for Weaver Leathercraft, and this is the Leather Element. If you've got a good question for us or a good idea for a Leather Element, drop it in the comment box below. Now this week, a little bit geared more towards those of us who are new to the craft because we get 3 questions regularly. First off, how do I cut a consistent line? Easy enough, we're going to do that. Secondly, how do I cut straps, or more particularly, a belt strap? And the third, how do we cut very thin leather without that rippling or that jagged edge? We're going to knock out all 3, super easy to do. So let's step over here, cut some leather. When we're making a long cut, we need this to be completely consistent. Say we're cutting a long pattern line, or we're going to bust this larger hide in half so we can strap from it. So the first thing, consistent cutting surface. Plywood is fine. I like the Poundo board. This is a rehealable board. Now, good straight edge. It's hard to find a straight edge long enough to cover a full hide. Doesn't matter. We're going to deal with that. But also, non-slip tape. Without that tape, our straight edge can move around. It can drift on our leather. I can put this tape on it, put it down, and that is not going to move. That's a solid, secure hold. But also, let's run that right to the edge of our straight edge. That's going to help here, but it's going to be a big help here very shortly. So, let's start with a good, clean cut. Sharp blade or new blade every time. Now, I'm not going to be able to cut through this in one pass. Don't worry, don't need to. What I can do is make my first pass, second pass, keep my blade angle very low. It's actually going to follow the cut I've already made. So let's do this. Let's try not to cut all the way through so we can in turn maybe trade pressure for control. Now, notice how I move my hand each time I cut. That keeps my straight edge from drifting, but this is a good point. So we've got a hide longer than our straight edge. Let's do this. I'm going to drop my knife in my cut. I'm going to butt my straight edge against it. I'm going to square that down my line. Then I'm going to continue my cut. Watch, we won't even be able to tell where we stopped. So now we've got one cut through this. Let's come back. We're going to keep that blade angle low. And it's actually going to follow the cut we've already made. But again, let's trade pressure for control. Go slow and easy. There we go. Very nice cut. And in fact, we cannot tell where we had to stop and start. Nice, clean, straight edge. Now, we can take this and strap from it. So let's make that our next step. There are 2 ways to go here. First off, this is simple aluminum bar stock, and we can buy this at any hardware store and in multiple widths. So what I've got here, 1.5 inch wide, standard belt width. But also too, I've got my non-slip on the back of that. So I can just square that on my edge, cut to that, and I've got a 1.5 inch. Second way to do this. And this will become one of the most used tools in your shop. This is a wooden strap cutter. Notice right here, I've got measurements. So I can loosen this. Now I can draw this literally from 1/8 of an inch, and we'll try that, all the way up to 4 inches. I'm going to bring that out to 1.5 inches, standard belt width. Now I like to put that on the edge, give that a little extra tight. And let's do this. I'm going to take it. I've got a cutting edge. Probably a little hard to see, but it's facing towards my numbers, which are facing towards me. Look at that. Now I can grab this little tab, pull that. How easy is that? Great tool, very durable, inexpensive, and the blades are cheap and easy to change out. Okay, so we've got a strap at 1.5 inch. I said we could do 1/8 of an inch. We absolutely can. Let's back this down to 1/8 of an inch. There we go. Very cool. We can cut our own lace. Great tool. All right, next step. How do we cut the lighter weight leathers without a jagged edge or that rippling? I think this is the lightest weight leather in my shop. In fact, that's a 2 to 3 ounce veg, and it's thinner. My gauge says this is about 1.5 ounce leather. Also very supple, a little bit stretchy. That's what always gives us the problem. Now, same rules apply. So I've got my tape right to my edge. That's a key here, because what that's going to do is literally pin down that leather across my cut. And again, we want a consistent surface and a clean blade or sharp blade every time. But if I press down, go easy, I can also push my finger across once I pass with my knife, push that across, hold that leather, and look at that. There's that clean, straight line we're looking for. Super easy to do as long as we use the right tools. Clean, consistent lines are the hallmark for any project or any quality project, but it's also the foundation for the project. If our cuts are clean and square, everything else will fall into place. I hope this is good information for you. Thanks for taking time to watch The Leather Element. Good luck with your projects.